Hi everyone, welcome back to the Daily Society. My name's Kristen. If you haven't met me before, I'm here to inspire you, to help you create your own wardrobe. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you know what to do. Go ahead and click that notification bell as well, and you'll never miss out on an episode whenever it's released. So, what's happening today? Well, I've got a great range of patterns that I've made up from the wonderful The Sewing Revival. If you haven't heard about them before, stay tuned and I'll let you know all about them. Well, it's only 1 week until winter here in Australia, and I wanted to show you just how beautiful the autumn leaves are. They're just about all gone, but this is my last remaining autumnal tree. The leaves are just starting to fall off, and this is my beautiful weeping cherry. I wanted to show you the magnificent light coming through these golden leaves, and especially the trunk on this tree. It is one of my favorites. It's so beautiful, and at night time it gets this beautiful like silver sheen on it. So I just couldn't resist coming out and filming underneath this just before the leaves disappear. So today I've got some beautiful tops and one dress to show you from the Sewing Revival. If you haven't heard of them before, they're a New Zealand company run by Janine. Janine has got some wonderful patterns there for you to try out. I have actually been dabbling around with quite a few of them, and I absolutely love so far what I've made. I've got a few things I've already made up to 3 different versions of, and you'll see why, because of the ease of the instructions. They're wonderful to use. Drafting the patterns is wonderful. I love the fact that you can do a bit of hacking, a bit of chopping and changing. You do get alternate sort of things like sleeves and different lengths there. What I've got today is a beautiful top called the fantail top. This also comes in a sleeveless version. Today I've got the one on with the sleeve, and this is made from a beautiful rayon that I purchased from Wattle Hill Fabrics here in Australia. Wattle Hill are very well known for their beautiful knits, but they do have some wovens, some beautiful viscose fabric as well, and I just loved the gorgeous autumnal shades with their bright sort of blues and pale blues as well. So I'm going to show you some pics of how this one's come out. The beauty of the fantail is that you can make it in knit or woven. Now, I love those kinds of patterns because they really give you so many options. You can really create so many different variations on the one pattern, especially when you can use a knit or a woven. So I think this would look fantastic as well in a sweater knit, maybe a French terry, or maybe a nice drapey soft knit rayon fabric. Really, it's endless what you can do with this pattern. But I also love the fact that I have got so many long tunic style blouses. Having that cropped front piece adds that little element of interest, and I love a lower dipped back hem. So that curved back hem and the cropped front I think is a really lovely style to wear with things like pleated pants or maybe baggier style jeans. So when you don't really want to tuck things in, but it gives it that tucked effect. So I absolutely love this, and I love the fact that the sleeves are on a raglan cut. You've got your lovely faced neckline, just a round neckline. I've made this, but you also get the option of the V-neck. And the sleeves, that nice wide elastic cuff is just so nice and easy to make up. You can see this worn with even a beautiful tailored skirt or a beautiful pleated pair of pants, as well as just what I'm wearing here, a pair of kind of baggy style jogger jeans. Sizes come from extra small to extra large, so I made the size 14, which I normally do in all of their patterns. 14 fits me just perfect. I really don't think I would have gone down any smaller. If I wanted to, I probably could have gone up one size around the hip and sort of butt area, because it is that sort of tailored tail effect, but around the bust and the arms I think the 14 is fine. Love the bias binding done around the tail, so the insert there, so you can, if you see the inside of it, you can see it's beautifully finished off with a bias binding. But I think the crop length is just perfect for me. I wouldn't want it any more cropped or any more lengthened. So just stick to the pattern recommendations. I know you might it might be a bit out of your comfort zone, because normally we are making things a little bit longer. These days I am trying to cover that middle region and that tummy, and I tend to make things a bit longer, but this is actually a really lovely shape on, and it just sort of covers the sort of tummy area and comes down to the point where it sort of sits at where your pleats would be for your pants. So it's a really lovely shape. So I would highly suggest trying it. It's a really, really nice, easy to wear pattern, but great if you want something a little bit more shaped, a little bit more fitted around the bodice area, and still to have that nice tail feature at the back. So try the fantail. You won't be disappointed with that one. The next thing I have to show you is a beautiful heron blouse, a heron shirt. Now, I made 2 versions of these back for Sew April blouse. You guys can probably remember how much I loved the heron blouse. I made it in this beautiful fabric from Cloth Edit, the Japanese cotton. And I also made another version in a spotlight cotton lawn that was a very dramatic sleeve, a really puffy sort of dropped raglan sleeve, and had that beautiful frill around the cuff of the wrist. But I loved it so much. I know my mum's gone on to make one herself. I've actually got so many more planned because I love the shaping of it. I love the way it sews up. I love the neckline and just the ease, and also the adaptability of you can put ties in or just the elastic. So I decided to make the other option, which is just the high neck. Now this has actually been done in a gorgeous chiffon fabric from the fabric store online. This is a sort of fabric that I think needs to be showcased with this particular style blouse because it's soft, romantic and drapey, and it's got a scene on the front of it. You'll see, I'll pop some pics up so you can see exactly what I mean. Normally, I'm not a really huge fan of a high neck, but I loved this fabric in it so much. It's so soft and pretty, and I think the elastic really just brings that detail around the neck and makes it really sort of fall from the neck soft and floaty and drapey, and it really suits that sort of style of fabric. So I'm really, really happy with how it's come up. Now, I can highly recommend the heron, not only just for the ease of sewing, but just the amount of options you get with sleeves, necklines, lengths, and that type of thing. So it really is well worth making a heron blouse if you haven't made one yet. It's one of those things that when you're out of your comfort zone, it is well worth just experimenting, because I actually asked my daughter what she thought, what particular one would suit the fabric, and she said go for the high neck, Mum, because it's really delicate fabric, it'll really suit it. And I'm so glad I did, because I just think it's definitely come up a really lovely blouse, and exactly what I had envisioned in my mind with this beautiful floaty chiffon fabric. So highly recommend the heron. I love the fact that you can make it in lots of different wovens, your lighter drapier wovens, or even your things like your cottons or cotton lawns. Things like viscose and rounds are beautiful, but things like georgette, crepe, and the chiffons, I think, add a really delicate, pretty element to the blouse as well. I love the curved hem. That's one of my favorite things ever, is to have a curved hem, because I just love the line that it gives. And the raglan sleeves are always a winner for me on a blouse. I really love how that's turned out. But I've seen this hacked into things like a layered a blouse with a frill around the bottom as well. I think you could easily do that. I also love the fact that the heron is now in a dress form. I think that heron dress is spectacular, and I'm really excited to make it. I'm really excited to show you guys, especially with that drawstring waist, because I think that would be an absolute winner to have in the wardrobe. Yes, I have been busy. I have made a gorgeous knit-out dress, and this is another standout dress from the Sewing Revival. It's a beautiful statement sleeve dress. It has different options for the waist tie. You can either do the double wraparound belt, which is a very wide wraparound belt, or you can just do the tie belt. I've kind of done a bit of a morph between the two. I've decided I'm a bit thicker around the waist, so to do a double kind of waist tie for me, I'd need quite a bit extra fabric there. And I did end up doing the double tie. It was a little bit short, so I decided just to cut the tie down a bit and sew it onto the side, and just have it done around the back once and tied loosely around the front. So it's kind of a morph between both belts. But I love that double wraparound tie belt. Next time I think I would make it and maybe upsize 1 or 2 sizes in the belt itself. So check your waist measurements for that. But the fact that it's just a sheath style dress with darts in the front where the bust is, it's a beautiful tunicky kind of mid-knee length. The sleeves are the standout winner for me. I will show you some pics and videos and see what you think. How gorgeous is that? I love this kind of 3/4 puff dramatic sleeve and that beautiful kind of slit front style there. It's got the seam up the middle. It's a beautiful detailed neckline and it's actually quite high, but I think it stands out and really gives that beautiful structure look to the dress. This I've made into cotton linen. I think you need the cotton linen to make that sleeve really pop out. I think cotton works perfectly for this. I think if you made it in a more of a drapier fabric, you just wouldn't get that same kind of appeal if you want that big dramatic sleeve. Of course, you can make it in a rayon or a viscose. It just won't look the same. The V-neck at the front stands up a bit more with a structured fabric, and I just think it just lends itself beautifully to the pattern. I think a cotton sateen would be spot on perfect for this pattern as well. So if you can find yourself a beautiful cotton sateen with a sheen on it, I think this knick-out dress would be absolutely stunning. You can make it in a sleeveless version as well, and that's great for summertime or also for winter with layering. If you want to do a long sleeve high neck top or a blouse underneath would be perfect as well. I think it's the sort of thing that you can easily layer and dress up maybe for the office, or also dress up for going out for an evening, or even dress down for a summertime dress. But I love the fact that you can do the add-on sleeves and it can take you kind of all seasons through the year as well. And I've actually adapted and made a blouse in this knick-out dress myself. I omitted the pockets because I usually tend to do that. I think the pockets would have looked spectacular on the dress, but I just find I tend to like to get rid of too much bulk that's around the hip area. But yeah, that's a personal thing. You can quite easily leave the pockets in. The instructions are spot on perfect as well for this particular dress. Now, I made the size 14 in this. I think it was perfect because I like to have a bit of room around the hips and waist area. It's quite generous. I just think you need to look at your finish measurements to make sure you're getting the exact fitted dress that you want. I will show you the blouse version I made as well. Now, the blouse version I adapted. I just cut off the length that where the second hip notch belt tie, I think, or the pocket notch, I think it was. I cut it off about hip length, and I actually made the back a tad longer and just continue that curve around, just a smidge longer at the back. And I've used this beautiful cotton lawn it's a Lady McElroy cotton lawn. I think it's Culture in Style from memory. I've had it in my stash for a while. It's one of those fabrics I absolutely love so much. I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was doing before I just ventured out and cut the fabric up. So loving the style of the sleeve and the dress itself, I knew it would make a perfect blouse. So I'll show you some pics of this one. Love about this too is it's got that beautiful back pleat, which gives you that big little room in the back, and it just adds a beautiful style feature, like a sort of a boxy pleat there too. But this one I actually cut on the fold. Now in the instructions, of course, you're cutting it in two pieces and joining the facings together, but I've done it a few times like that with patterns that are cut the middle, folded it over. You just got to remember when you're doing your facing piece as well, you need to do it on the fold as well. And when you cut out your neck piece, you must make sure that you don't just cut a straight line down, because it will sort of flop together. You need to make sure you have it separated a little bit. So when you cut up the on the angle of the facing, you need to go a little bit of an angle and curve around there, just so it gives it that proper opening, because normally you have that seam allowance there that you'll find on the normal version that gives you that separation there at the neckline. So just experiment. I think it's a beautiful blouse. I'm really happy that I made the blouse version. I think I'll wear that quite a lot with things like jeans, and I love it in a cotton wool. I can highly recommend making the nick out dress. It's a beautiful style blouse or dress. Now there's also a styling video if you want to find out how to wrap and style the belt. The Janine's included the wraparound belt instructions. You can see exactly how she's done and what the pattern's intended to look like, because sometimes it's great to have that bit of detail thrown in there so you can see exactly what the pattern designer has envisioned the pattern to look like. And the tie belt, I think, is a real standout winner for me. I love anything with that definition and tie and belt, just to get that nice waist shape. But it just goes to show that a little bit of hacking and a bit of creativity, you can actually get a lot more out of your pattern. And I just think once you start experimenting with these patterns, you're going to really love what they've got to offer. All of the patterns I've discussed here today are linked in my description box below. I do have an affiliate link for the Sewing Revival, so a very small commission of each sale does go towards the channel, so I appreciate that so much. If you were to buy through that, that is totally up to you. If not, go and head over to the Sewing Revival website and see what they've got to offer. I know Janine is actually updating a lot of her patterns and slowly increasing her size range on a lot of those too, so I'm sure you'll be happy to know that. But definitely standout favorites of mine, hair and blouse. Of course, I've made the 3 versions so far, making the dress now, but definitely think about making the nick out and also the fantail. This is something a bit more unusual, a bit different, and adding those sort of patterns to the collection, to your wardrobe, can never go astray. I think it's really great to adapt, mix and match, and try a bit of hacking yourself too. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that episode, and I hope I've inspired you to go and look at the Sewing Revival yourself. So keep sewing, keep safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.